Okay, here we are. Welcome back. We are getting into chapter 4, Becoming an Adult. And another quote, this time from Abraham Lincoln. It's not the years in your life that count. It's the life in your years. Very, it's not the destination, it's the journey type quote. All right, let's get into this, shall we? Becoming an adult. What did you do after high school? Did you serve in the military, get a job, go to college, or a trade school? Something else? After high school, I did attempt a life in college. I started at junior college. Let's see, living in Fremont, so Ohlone College is where I started. Junior college, like I said, and it, again, gave it a try, tried it, didn't have much success, didn't have a lot of motivation, went to class some of the time. So this was really kind of pre-internet still. This is 1993, 94. As far as online courses, non-existent. However, the school, Ohlone College, had a college radio station where you could, I guess, part of the either interning or college courses in communication was a student-run radio channel, 89.9, I believe. In addition to that, they offered courses over the radio, so you would tune in. The professor would give lectures, and then you would come into class once or twice a semester, or whatever, for exams. So I thought that would be perfect. I could stay home, I could take notes, and it started off well enough. Then it was an 8 a.m. class, so I would wake up, turn on the radio, hit the old record on the stereo with my audio cassettes, and I just figured I'll just record them and I'll go back, listen to them later, take notes, and no, didn't work out. So I think I probably did 3 or 4 semesters at Ohlone. Wasn't succeeding, no motivation. I tried morning classes, I tried afternoon classes, I tried night classes. There was nothing that I could really get going and get behind. So eventually, I think my first job that I had was working at a company. They did like embroidering for like uniforms, for like, I don't know, just like company t-shirts and work shirts and things like, put your name on, I am Joe, that type of shit. And just, anyway, my Aunt Marla, Uncle Paul's wife, she got me the job in the mailroom, which basically consisted of stuffing envelopes with catalogs and other type of mail, sorting things, making runs to the post office, dropping off big sacks of mail. So yeah, that was my first gig coming out of college. I was 18, and then after that, I don't even remember. I think I remember a big job that I had, probably for the longest amount of time, was a company called High Technology Logistics, where I worked in the warehouse, did shipping and receiving, drove forklifts. That was my like real first job. That's the job I had when I got my first car, that I paid for myself. Um, yeah, so it was a lot of, and then trying to dabble back and forth between jobs and maybe going to school. I tried out Chabot College in Hayward. Um, Took some creative writing courses there. Tried to do the regular, typical schools, uh, basic general education stuff. Just didn't. I mean, the most success I had was the creating writing, of course. I finished that whole thing and got a passing grade, but that wasn't so much for, you know, college. I thought I wanted to be a writer at one point, so I was like, I'll take this writing course. It'll help me get started. Just not a lot of direction in the younger years. You know what I mean? Not a lot of direction. What were your reasons for making this choice? The reasons for making the choice was, the family rule. You can stay here as long as you got a job or you're going to school. So I was like, well, not really into working right now, at 18. So I went to school, and then I'm like, yeah, this ain't shit. Let's go ahead and start our work life. Um, which for me, when you guys started wanting to get jobs at like 15, 16 years old, that blew my mind. I was just like, wow, you guys have some motivation. That's awesome. Let's go. Let's get it. I didn't have that at that age. I was content to, bum money off my parents and friends and whatnot, and just kind of skate. So when you guys started wanting to work early, I thought that was great. Um, but yeah, the motivation was to not get kicked out. So school or work. Uh, Looking back, how did you feel in this decision? I mean, there was really no decision to make. It was, this is it. Like I said, we've covered this before. School wasn't my get down. It was very difficult for me. There wasn't a lot of motivation there. So, well, let's, start working. It is what it is. Describe what you were like in your 20s. I was a fucking knucklehead in my 20s. Drinking at this point was still high priority for me. And it was just, at that age, early 20s, 19 to 20, it was, yeah, let's party with the friends, let's hang out, let's chase girls, that type of jazz. 21, to mid 20s, still pretty much the same. Only difference is now I can go get booze on my own. So it was just a lot of kind of just going through the day-to-days, coasting, not really making decent money for that point in my life. So I had freedom to do the things that I wanted to do. But, again, it wasn't like I was super motivated. And, jumping back to the high school years, there wasn't a lot of direction as far as what I wanted to do after high school. People all around me seemed to be like, oh, yeah, I know I want to do this, or I'm going to go to school, do this. I think that was part of my dilemma, is like, I don't know. I fucking just like to hang out. I didn't have a passion. So, you guys are still young enough to find a passion. If you can find a passion, do it. Get a dream, go for it. Because I didn't have that sense of urgency. I would daydream, like, oh, I wish I could do this. I wish I could be a writer. I wish I could be a film director. That kind of stuff. But, I guess I never had it in me to be like, I'm going to chase my dream. Which sucks. So, I don't know. I guess that's just how my brain's wired. I wish it was different. I wish I had the actual motivation to be like, oh, I can do this, and I want to do this, and I want it to be amazing. So instead, in those early formative years, it was, revolving around partying and hanging out and just being fucking stupid. So, yeah. So when I know I gave you guys a hard time, maybe not hard enough about um I see where this direction is taking you type conversations that we used to have. And I think that was part of it. It was just, I saw myself drift through my early 20s without a direction. And I didn't want to see you guys go through that too. I wanted there to be more down the road for you guys, which, you're still very young. And I'm glad you enjoyed, experimenting and finding out new things. So, I don't know where I'm going with that. But anyway. What were your main goals and priorities during this time of your life? Again, I think we covered that. That was just not, the main goal, get as fucked up as possible. What advice would you give the 20s version of yourself today? Wake the fuck up. Where you're going, the road you're taking is going to be painful. Find some motivation. Take advantages of situations that are presented to you, but don't settle. Yeah. And let's wrap up with another quote from an unknown author. Fathers hold their children's hand for a while, but their hearts forever. I hope so. So, we'll wrap it up today and come back tomorrow with Becoming an Adult. Take care, boys. I love you both.